An explosion occurred at the intersection of Jiafeng West Road and Fengsheng Street in Tieshi District, Anshan City, Liaoning Province on August 17th. The moment was captured by a dash cam from a car. Videos from citizens showed multiple cars driving when several explosions happened simultaneously along the road. White smoke quickly covered the vehicles. The ground caved in, leaving large pits, and manhole covers were blown into the air. After the explosion, local authorities arrived to handle the situation. Later, the Tieshi District Emergency Management Bureau in Anshan City released a statement. At 10:34 a.m. on August 17th, an explosion occurred at the intersection of Jiafeng West Road and Fengsheng Street. No casualties were reported. The cause of the explosion is still under investigation. Some people online believe a gas pipeline may have exploded. They mentioned that several manhole covers were blown off and the road was seriously damaged. After watching the footage, commentators shared their thoughts. It felt like being in Gaza. This time, it's probably not from overloading, right? They can even say it was caused by UFOs if they want. Ms. Liu, who runs a car body and paint shop near the explosion site, witnessed the incident. Her shop is located at the intersection of Jiafeng West Road and Fengsheng Street, just meters away from where the explosion occurred. Ms. Liu recalled that the explosion took place around 10:30 a.m. She was standing at her shop's entrance, chatting with someone, when suddenly debris flew into the air and hit her on the head. Her first thought was of her child inside the shop, and she immediately rushed in to check. Fortunately, her child was unharmed. On August 17, a reporter from Xiaoxiang Morning News contacted the Anshan City Fire and Rescue Department. The staff said it was inconvenient to disclose the cause of the explosion at the moment. The reporter also called China Resource Gas Company's 24-hour customer service hotline in Anshan. The company had issued a notice regarding a pressure reduction in the gas pipeline near Jiafeng West Road. Repair work was underway and gas supply was expected to resume by 7 p.m. that same day. The Xiaoxiang Morning News also contacted the Anshan municipal government. Officials there confirmed that specialized personnel were handling the matter, and official statements would be issued after the investigation. The official response triggered significant online discussion. There were comments such as, "What do you mean, inconvenient to disclose? Just tell the truth. The public has a right to know so they can protect themselves. What's the big deal?" The gas company is repairing the pipeline, just classic thief crying stop thief behavior. People speculated about the cause of the explosion online. In the summer, not only can underground gas pipelines leak and explode, but even sewage systems can explode due to the buildup of hydrogen sulfide and methane gases. Smaller explosions blow off manhole covers, but without pressure relief, larger explosions could tear up the road. The sewer system is full of decaying materials and highly flammable biogas. Gas must have leaked from an underground pipe. With the summer heat, the pressure built up and caused the explosion. Is it because the surface temperature was too high and the pipeline depth didn't meet standards? If they knew the cause, they wouldn't tell us anyway. One resident from Anshan commented, "Our gas hasn't worked for 2 years. If we report it, we'll have to pay for our own pipe replacements, 500 yuan for 2 meters. Many people can't afford the repairs, so they do it themselves. We're just regular folks, and no one helps us." Another added, "If nothing else happens, various departments will probably start surprise inspections. Once the cause is identified, there will likely be targeted inspections, like confiscating gas tanks from regular people. Without inspections, where would they get the money to repair things? This is how they've always done it." Some said the poor communities will suffer again, with untrained personnel forced to conduct door-to-door inspections. Then they'll create a system to blame these poor workers earning 2,500 yuan a month. Others questioned, gas pipelines have exploded a few times before. Why do we still rely on them? Gas explosions occur so frequently in China that there's a news report almost every few days. On June 22nd in Songyuan, Jilin, an explosion occurred on a road next to a used car dealership, creating a terrifying scene. A witness from the dealership said the explosion happened around 8:15 a.m., shortly after they opened. The noise sounded like firecrackers and shocked them to the core. When they ran outside, they saw thick smoke rising from the ground like mushroom clouds after an explosion. It was like something out of a war movie, unbelievable and horrifying. The dealership suffered significant losses. One owner said a whole row of Toyota Prados was severely damaged. Some cars had shattered windshields, while others had completely deformed doors. The financial loss was substantial. After the incident, local officials confirmed that emergency teams rushed to the scene and road repairs were underway. The staff noted that both gas and water pipelines ran under the road, but it was unclear whether the explosion was due to a gas or water pipe leak. The explosion, which cracked open the road and destroyed numerous vehicles, shocked onlookers and quickly drew attention online. Social media users wondered about the compensation for the damaged vehicles. How will they compensate for all the damaged cars? Gas explosions happen every day is just too dangerous. On December 15, 2023, an explosion occurred in Shantou, Guangdong, sending manhole covers flying. Surveillance footage showed the explosion happening at 9:33 p.m. as vehicles were driving normally. Suddenly, flames burst out, followed by an explosion that blew 2 manhole covers into the air. Nearby pedestrians and vehicles scrambled to get away. Media reports said the explosion took place in Chengdian Town, Chaonan District, Shantou City, near Chengdian Primary School. A nearby shopkeeper said no injuries were reported and traffic continued as usual. Another resident mentioned that the next morning they saw the manhole covers had been replaced and the road was back to normal. On the morning of the 16th, a staff member from the Chengdian town government told reporters there were no reports of injuries. The roads were functioning normally and the cause of the explosion was still under investigation. On August 31, 2023, in Dongguan, Guangdong, an explosion occurred near a crossroads where many vehicles were parked. Suddenly, the ground next to a car exploded, sending thick smoke into the air. An insider revealed that the explosion was caused by underground cables. On August 8, 2023, in Dezhou, Shandong, a resident was riding a bicycle down a road when 2 manhole covers suddenly exploded. After the loud noise, flames and thick smoke erupted, causing panic as people ran in fear. Local urban management officials confirmed that the explosion was triggered by a short circuit in a high-voltage line. On June 26, 2022, in Xingtai, Hebei, a manhole cover suddenly blew off due to an explosion. Flames shot up instantly, and a passing sanitation worker was left in shock. Explosions like this happen regularly on China's roads. Officials always say they are investigating the cause, but usually nothing is resolved. As long as no one dies, even if explosions happen daily, it still won't get much attention. Some analysts say that China's underground gas pipelines and cables are to blame for these explosions. Gas pipelines especially can cause serious damage when they explode. In 2023, there were 612 gas-related accidents in China, showing how widespread these safety risks are. These dangers are hidden underground, a shared problem across cities caused by poorly built infrastructure. A report by the Safety Management Committee of the China Urban Gas Association revealed that nearly half of these 612 accidents involved natural gas. This was 15 more incidents than in 2022, resulting in 16 deaths and 167 injuries. Over 70% of the natural gas incidents were due to problems with the pipeline network. According to media reports, among the verified gas pipeline accidents in 2023, the top 3 causes were damage from third-party construction, pipeline corrosion, and natural disasters. Damage from construction was the leading cause, responsible for 85% of the accidents, up nearly 12% from the previous year. During construction, if workers aren't careful, they can easily damage gas pipelines. The system still has many unresolved technical issues, and there are flaws in the design, construction, and maintenance stages. A more serious issue is the risk of gas pipeline corrosion caused by subway construction in many cities. The direct current from subways corrodes nearby natural gas pipelines. The closer the pipelines are to the subway, the worse the corrosion. How severe this is remains unknown, as it all happens underground. The biggest danger is that China's underground gas network is aging and deteriorating. These massive pipelines are like volcanoes under the cities, ready to erupt at any time. China's city gas market has grown rapidly over the past 20 years, much like real estate and new energy vehicles. This has also been a time when the gas industry has grown uncontrollably. It all started with the West-East Gas Pipeline project, which now supplies natural gas to over 2,800 cities and counties across China. The West-East Gas Pipeline transports natural gas from western China, places like Xinjiang, Qinghai, Sichuan, Chongqing, and Ordos, to the eastern regions like the Yangtze River Delta and Pearl River Delta. The project began in July 2002, and by December 2004, gas was being delivered to cities like Shanghai. According to China's Urban Rural Construction Statistical Yearbook, by 2022, there were about 327 million gas users in China. This included 238 million natural gas users and 53 million liquefied petroleum gas users. The gas pipeline network stretched over 1.2 million kilometers, with 120,600 kilometers dedicated to natural gas. More than 70,000 kilometers of these pipelines have been in operation for over 20 years. These pipelines were built quickly, often at the expense of safety. Many safety risks were left behind during design, construction, and management stages, such as poor quality anti-corrosion layers and shoddy construction. Safety may cost significantly in infrastructure projects. When government officials pocket money meant for construction, contractors can only make a profit by cutting safety costs. They use cheaper, often substandard materials. This is why poorly built infrastructure is so common in China. One expert described the rough pipeline construction he witnessed. A pipeline about 0.5 meters in diameter and 100 meters long was pulled into place by an excavator to correct alignment issues. Many old and deeply buried pipelines are nearing the end of their lifespan. Aging and corrosion make gas leaks more likely to happen. Scholars also point out that illegal construction by residents, such as buildings pressing down on gas pipelines or surrounding gas facilities, carries hidden dangers. If a leak occurs, it's harder to detect, leading to gas buildup and potential explosions. On March 13, 2024, an explosion in Yanjiao Sanhe City, Hebei, shocked entire China. Officials said it was caused by a gas pipeline leak. According to Ji Hongtu, head of the Sanhe Emergency Management Bureau, Yanjiao was one of the first towns to introduce gas pipelines. The underground network there is complex, with some sections over 20 years old and buried 12 meters deep. This makes it hard to determine whether the leak was in one spot or many. Ji's point was clear. The pipelines are buried so deep that finding the leak is nearly impossible, meaning they can't fix it. Nobody can predict where the next explosion might occur. This was the third gas explosion in Yanjiao within 3 years. In 2022, 2 other explosions occurred close by, a residential explosion on May 16 and a restaurant explosion on June 24th. Both were within 2 kilometers of this latest incident. A public safety expert in Anhui province named Gong Liuling noted that having 3 gas explosions within a 2-kilometer radius over 3 years shows a failure to learn from past incidents. It also highlights weak safety measures. It shows that the current safe operation of urban gas is under great pressure. General Manager Yang Chunxing of Shenzhen Boyi Consulting explained that gas pipelines are now entering a period of higher accident rates. Since projects like Shanxi Gas to Beijing and West-East Gas Pipeline began in 2000, cities have expanded their gas networks rapidly. Many pipelines and facilities have now been in use for over 20 years and need replacement due to safety concerns. But updating these pipelines requires significant funds. The question remains, where will these funds come from? Interviews with gas companies and industry experts reveal that replacing old pipelines faces several challenges. There's confusion about who's responsible, companies are financially strained, and the cost of replacing old networks is a major problem. In recent years, China has seen rapid infrastructure growth. Every project requires ongoing maintenance, which is costly. Local governments rely on fiscal revenue to support infrastructure, but rising maintenance costs are putting enormous pressure on local budgets. Maintaining infrastructure requires both equipment and staff, which calls for money. After the real estate market crash, local governments, heavily reliant on land sales, now carry massive debt. They can't afford expensive maintenance anymore. For these local governments, high maintenance costs are a burden. They can't even pay their civil servants, so where will the funds for repairs come from? The over 300 million gas users across the country. In China, city gas companies operate as state-owned monopolies despite being classified as public utilities. As monopolies, they can raise prices at will and in turn pass the costs on to citizens. The 12-kilometer gas cylinder costs 40 yuan, but the government sells it to the public for 120 yuan. Their reasoning? Your old cylinder isn't safe, so you need a new one. It's the same cylinder, the same gas, but in the name of safety, the price triples. Whether new or old, they buy back your cylinder for just 20 yuan. Starting in April 2024, media reports show that residents in several provinces, Sichuan, Chongqing, Jiangsu, Hunan, Hubei, Anhui, and Shanxi, noticed their gas bills had increased in the second half of 2023, despite no significant changes in their usage. Official reports from Sichuan and Chongqing and responses from some gas companies explain that the rising costs were due to meter reading errors, irregular gas pricing, fluctuating billing cycles, and increased winter usage. But a key factor was the accelerated pace of natural gas price hikes starting in the second half of 2023. In February 2023, China's National Development and Reform Commission made gas price adjustments a priority. In March 2023, the China City Gas Association submitted a recommendation to the National Development and Reform Commission, stating that city gas companies were operating at a loss due to price controls on gas for residential use. The resulting financial difficulties were affecting gas supply safety. Soon after, domestic gas prices began rising faster. According to Huachuang Securities, at least 52 cities and counties raised residential gas prices in 2023, with the average price increasing by 0.25 yuan per cubic meter, nearly a 10% rise. In Hebei and Inner Mongolia, some areas saw price hikes of up to 14%. In 2024, gas price increases continued to spread. More cities adopted pricing mechanisms linking upstream and downstream gas costs, leading to further price hikes, often exceeding 10%. Many citizens from Chongqing reported that gas prices had gone up. Some gas companies secretly replaced meters, leading to an 800% increase in revenue. Truck drivers who rely on natural gas have been hit hard, with many saying they can no longer afford the rising costs.
To those of you who bought natural gas trucks a few years back, how are you holding up now? The price of natural gas has skyrocketed recently. It's already hit 6 or 7 yuan per kilogram, and in some places, it's even reached 8 yuan, almost the same as gasoline. And the prices are still going up. It's like a knife to our throats. Hang in there, truckers.
As people point out, when it comes to price hikes, they're implemented immediately. But when there's a problem, no one takes responsibility. Small accidents are brushed aside, and when major incidents happen, they're covered up and blamed on others. Industry experts warn that the safety issues in the gas sector are serious and could hinder its development. Without addressing the root causes, accidents are inevitable. After an accident, there's often a surge in inspections, but once a crisis passes, safety measures are often relaxed. Few people follow up to ensure hazards are fully addressed. Over time, these gas pipelines spanning 1.2 million kilometers beneath roads and neighborhoods have become ticking time bombs waiting to cause a disaster. As the saying goes, in this country, it's a blessing just to see tomorrow's sunrise. Don't expect too much. No one knows what will come first, tomorrow or an accident.